In the past, we've judged the Kia Pro Cee'd GT to be the best small sporty hatchback you can buy under 35 grand. It's fun, it's functional, and it's also pretty fast. But now there are fresh contenders in the mix. So, is the Kia still the best buy?
The Hyundai Veloster SR Turbo was my pick last time, and it's back after a significant update, including revised suspension, steering, and with even more features.
So here it is, the new Holden Astra GTC Sport. Although it's not entirely new, it was here just a couple of years ago as an Opel, but now it's back, more affordable and more powerful.
You're probably thinking, what's the Citroen Ds3 doing here? But it's got a 1.6 litre turbo, just like the other three, and it's pretty much the same price. I reckon this flamboyant Frenchie might be a bit of a wild card.
Mate, what is that doing here?
Look, I know it's a size smaller than these three, but small means light, and that's what you want in a sporty car. And plus, it's so easy to get into the back of because it's so cleverly packaged. It's much bigger back there than your Veloster is, Tony.
It might be small in the back, and that's fine if you've got small children, but where this thing really nails the rest of this bunch is with this handy third door. No more awkward scrambles for letting passengers out of the back seat.
If you want to fit anyone taller than you in the back seat, Tony, you got to get the Astra though. It's the roomiest car here and the most comfortable in the second row. Not only that, it's the most affordable, unlike Matt's Kia, which is the most expensive.
Yeah, sure, but you get what you pay for. This thing is still the best all-rounder. It's got performance, it's got practicality, and it's got nice things like a sunroof and leather.
No leather for your Citroen, Timber, and I tell you what, I've got that and heated and cooled seats, mate.
Well, at least we've all got 5 seats, Tony, unlike your Veloster's 4.
Mine's the only one with 19s though, and a ski port, so you got style and convenience.
Well, I don't think we're going to sort this out in a car park, boys. So how about we hit the road and figure it out for real?
Oh,
yep.
Let's do it.
Down low, this 1.6 litre turbo just doesn't quite have the punch that you want from a warm hatch like this. You need to spin it up to about 4,000 RPM for this thing to really start humming. Second gear runs out of steam too early, and third doesn't pick it up quick enough, so it can leave you in a bit of a hole. The handling hasn't changed. This thing is still very competent through the twisty stuff, and it sits dead flat through the corners. So I'm pretty impressed, and that's a result of stepping up from 215 tyres to 225 series. More footprint on the road, more grip. The ride's pretty good too, so those suspension upgrades that Hyundai did have proved very worthwhile. The seats are good too. They're heavily bolstered, so they hold you in place in the really tight stuff, though the cockpit itself does feel a bit cramped. However, in typical Hyundai fashion, it's a very logically laid out dash, and it's very intuitive, and the media system is a cinch to pair.
The Hyundai has a really simple media system, but this Holden MyLink arrangement, yeah, it's kind of like trying to crack the Da Vinci Code. And there's like 47 buttons here. Largest car, roomiest cabin. And although this seat's really quite supportive, it takes a lot to get comfortable in it. Although once you get it there, it's really quite a sporty seating. The engine's really workmanlike. It's actually got the most torque of the 4 cars here. However, it's a really heavy car. It's 400 kilos heavier than the Citroen, and it's not that far off a base Commodore. Gearbox, yeah, not bad, not great, but it's definitely got a better clutch feel than the Hyundai, and the pedals are far better than the Citroen. It's got the softest suspension of the bunch, and it doesn't really inhibit the handling that much. But where the real plus is around urban driving and in the country. It's really great for long distance driving. You know, the Astra really likes being let off its leash. However, you get into the tighter corners and you really start to feel its weight. Tyres, not a huge amount of grip, but it's not too far off the Kia for corner speed.
That's because I've got Michelin Pilot Sport 3 tyres, which are a really good match for this chassis. It's the most planted car here, offering composed, compliant and predictable road manners. though the ride could be a little bit firm, particularly around town. And as for the steering, there's nothing that would give away the fact that the Pro Cee'd is a bit of a weapon until you find a really good set of corners. That's when it really starts to fire. While it shares the same engine as the Hyundai Veloster, it seems more lively and it sounds better in the Kia. Unlike some of the other cars here, this 6-speeder is really engaging. There's a nice throw to it, and the clutch action is weighty but not too heavy. I'm a big fan of the Kia's interior. Yeah, there is a lot of black, but everything's logically positioned, and the media system is one of the most intuitive on the market. With Recaro front seats, there's good adjustability for the driver, but they can feel a little bit hard after a few hours in the chair.
Some of the other boys have whinged about DS3's uneven pedals, but they don't bother me too much. I like the driving position, and this definitely has the most comfortable seat of the bunch. And because you get those really big windows in the back, it means there's better visibility than that other swoopy trio. The interior looks quite cool, but it's a little lacking. It's a bit of an ergonomic nightmare like the Astra. You do get this big screen up the top here, although it's not a touchscreen, which means you have to fiddle around with these dinky little buttons and dials. The engine has the least power and the least torque of the bunch, but it's definitely the liveliest and has plenty of pull from down low. I'm not really a fan of the clutch pedal in this car. Nothing really happens until the last little fraction of travel, and even then there's no real sensation of a bite point, which makes it a bit of a nuisance in traffic. The ride is really good at ironing out the little imperfections in the road, but it does come unstuck when you hit some of those larger bumps, which make it feel quite clumsy. The steering is light, and it's also the dartiest, most direct, and most engaging of the bunch. It's so agile and so nimble, perfect for throwing around corners like this.
All right, Tim, the Citroen Ds3, a bit of a wild card in this test, but all of us loved it.
Yeah, it's definitely the most playful and fun car here. It is, however, overpriced and under-equipped in this company, and the pragmatist in me says that the Kia is the smarter buy. However, this thing puts the biggest smile on my face, and for that, it gets my money.
Right, Tone, are you still Team Hyundai?
Mate, if I'm going with my head, I'd stick with the Veloster. It's more practical with that extra door, better equipped, and it offers a dual clutch option these days. But if I'm going with my heart, then I have to give the nod to the Kia because it's simply the best driver's car here.
Kurt, how did you go with that new old Astra of yours?
Well, the Astra's pretty competent all around, but it's really not hitting anything out of the ballpark. The Kia, however, I reckon has really nailed it. It doesn't have the extensive specs list of some of its rivals, but what it has got is real quality. And it's like you said, Matt, it's fun, fast and functional.
Yep, it is, but so is the Citroen. And for me, that makes it difficult to choose a favourite out of these two cars because I like them for such different reasons. But for the one that delivers on the sporty hatchback brief, the Kia is still better than the rest.